visits in a day. I'm sure even if it's moving around the East African region, he'll be able to do 2 or 3 countries in a day. And therefore, it's only for us to fail him in terms of meeting the expectation that he has for us. But for him, I'm very sure he's be able to do his part. But even us as Kenyans, we need to be able to do our part.
Now, talking about matters of trade and the economy, there's a question that you alluded to, and maybe we can expound on it. Where are we likely to see the new administration keep at least some aspects of the Big Four agenda, especially focusing on the issue of manufacturing? On the campaign trail, we had the president-elect said that he's going to make concerted effort to support MSMEs and, within manufacturing, agriculture, and that. Are we likely to see some aspects of Big Four taken up in this new administration, Engineer?
Well, what he alluded to in his campaign, and it was very clear, is that he was very passionate about housing. And in the housing sector, in terms of delivering the 500,000 houses, he was looking at creating opportunities for the young men and women of Kenya to be able to participate in the various jobs, like making of doors, making of windows, making these are trade craft, people who will be able to get opportunities to deliver on that. The other area that was very passionate with is the issue of food security and agriculture. Remember, he was once a minister of agriculture. So he's somebody who is very passionate in the issues of making sure that the country is able to produce enough and be able to produce enough and be able to sell to other countries or other markets. So I'm seeing where he will be able to drive a lot of his effort, a lot of his economic plans towards housing and food security. Manufacturing, we need now the counties to wake up. The counties have the potential to drive manufacturing in this country by attracting investors in various counties to be able to set up manufacturing plants and using what we call the Special Economic Zone Act to leverage on giving incentives to these people who invest there. So the counties also have a responsibility in creating the business environment to attract these investors so that they can set up manufacturing plants within the counties and be able to provide the necessary jobs. The Hustler Fund also will be able to help in terms of those who want to provide indirect services and to these sectors by having the credit facilities to be able to participate in terms of providing services in these areas. So it will be a mix of economic incentives, both at the county level, at the national level, that will be able to drive this kind of agenda. So we need to be able as a country, also as a nation, to also position yourself. If you are into food security, if you are into agriculture, how then can you be able to participate in this area? But those are some of the areas I believe that the Big Four will take full advantage of. And it's very important also we don't forget that, yes, healthcare, there was a lot that was done, but in terms of the welfare of the workers, we need to see now the county governments also getting in terms of putting their acts together in terms of managing the welfare of the health workers, because yes, we have the infrastructure, we have the health facilities, but without people working in these facilities, then how can we be able to say that we are delivering health services? So those are some of the areas that I believe William Ruto will be able to move forward the country with.
Now, Dr. Rutich, from what Engineer is saying is that for Ruto to actually see this through, make his promises through, that there has to be cohesion between the national government and the county government. Looking at what has been happening in the political scene, we are still seeing those who have found themselves in opposition a little bit rigid, still maintaining that, oh, we will do this. That synergy. What is the President-elect William Ruto likely to do to ensure that, he has that synergy between those in government and those in opposition, given the antagonism that we've been witnessing?
I think when you look at the Kenyans across, you look at a society that is in a dire need, and there is no region or county that will really neglect, because the source of funds the source of funds to the county governments actually, comes from the central government, and in this case, there must be a plan from the central government, to the county governments. And one thing that we must also realize is that we are coming at a time when the majority of our youth are actually unemployed. And this government is coming at a time when we have millions of our youths unemployed. And whatever steps that this government is going to do is to make sure that they make startup on those areas that will absorbed majority of our youth into into engaging activities or other employment. And in this case, I'm looking forward towards the county governments actually being proactive on areas to do with industrialization, on areas to do with food security, on areas to do with health, which has actually been a big problem. Without really enhancing on health issues, we cannot really manage as a country if the health of our society is actually is very low. And in this case, what I'm looking forward to seeing this government actually doing is to invest more in terms of health facilities, invest also more in terms of industrialization to create jobs for our youth, invest more on, because even the issue of housing, it was actually planned in such a way that majority of our youth will be absorbed in those areas in terms of job opportunities. So the issue that is at hand, Madam, are issues to do with where the government actually will get this chunk of money to be able to fund all these projects and the needy for the 7 counties. And that is a task that is ahead of this government, because this government is coming up at a time when we have 10 trillion plus debts. And to service the same debts is actually a daunting task, which is actually ahead of us. And then on top of that again, we want to see, we want to meet the food security. Our country is actually going, in jar. This country is facing a lot of problems. You saw when His Excellency, the President-elect, when he was in Meru last Sunday, he really emphasized on taxation, that this country should be able to pay taxes to enable the government actually move forward. And to me, this is the bottom line. This is the main thing that we must look at it. How is this country going to get more taxes? More revenue to be able to really finance the magnitude kind of investment that is ahead of us. And at the same time, he also talked about completing the incomplete projects. We still had major projects or huge projects that are yet to be completed, which was started by the outgoing government. And even for them to make a new startup, or rather initiate new projects, they must finish the past one, and that also requires a lot of resources. So in this case, I think Kenyans should also really look forward to giving time, because it is in paying the taxes that this government can be able to have that capacity to do the necessary services that they have actually promised. And without that, and then he also mentioned that if we are digging, we don't want to dig deeper into the holes, because it is saying that we cannot afford to borrow and borrow more. And since we have reached a level whereby we may no longer be able to service the current debts, which of course in this case, Madam, I'm seeing this government, as much as we have had a lot of excitement, we must also be able to give them time and also realize that it is through us, those who are actually paying the taxes, that this government can move on. I overheard Yoweri Museveni, His Excellency, the President of Uganda, some time back saying, we need to inculcate the habit of paying taxes, and so that we can be able to manage, or rather be able to come up, or rather meet the necessities of the nation. And in this case, that is what Kenyans must really appreciate, that it is through the taxation that Kenya can move, this country can move on. I also heard His Excellency, the President-elect, saying, we want to be a country that will loan. We don't want to be the country that will be borrowing. And that is emphasizing so much on local investors, that we must save more to be able to boost our economy, so that it is longing for a time when this country will borrow from their own local investors than going outside the country. And that is the bottom line of where we are going.
Now, Dr. Rotich, before we discuss where the money is and where the funds are, what you are seeing on your screens are live pictures from the KASARANI Stadium there, contingent of, a mix of the security apparatus of the land there. We have GSU, we also have National Police just taking part in that particular jog, or rather exercise, to prepare for what they are going to be doing during the first 4 or 5 hours of today there, being the venue where we are going to have President-elect Dr. William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua take oath of office. Actually, 2 oaths for the president there: an oath of allegiance of the presidency, and this is to the constitution, as well as oath of due execution of the incoming president. We expect them, and as far as the deputy president-elect is concerned, is expected at exactly 11:35. That is 5 minutes before we see the president-elect arriving to the venue. This is just some warm-up to just, maybe entertain as well as kick off the chill. We understand is that the stadium was open to the public from early as 2 a.m. and as it stands, it's full to capacity, with an extra sitting and broadcaster section around the stadium being made available for at least 20,000 Kenyans who have thronged the stadium to come witness this moment in history. As I've said, he's a young man who has taken the seat, so to speak, at his first attempt. That is Dr. William Ruto, the president-elect, and he's going to be sworn in. A ceremony that is by law expected to take place between